At you. This is the review of the Phoenix Arms 22 and the Phoenix Arms 25. It's going to be the HP22A and the HP25A. So there you go, and there you go. So basically these are budget-minded pistols, so they're very inexpensive. With the current economy, a lot of people have asked, a lot of friends, hey, what do you think of this pistol? It's, you know, under 200 bucks and whatnot. Do you think it's a good idea to get one? And would you carry one or rely on one? So this is my personal opinion and my answers to those questions. So here's the 22, HP22A. Inside of it, you get just basic cardboard box, your operating and instruction manual, along with the safety act that's required to be in there. So in here you'll find various items that you could order for the gun, if you would. So as well as your warranty registration. So if you want to get the warranty, which I highly recommend, because one thing that Phoenix is great about is if something goes wrong with your pistol, they are happy to fully reassemble it for you and send it back, and you basically just cover shipping. But anyways, that's about it. You get a cardboard box. I mean, what do you expect for the price that you're paying for the gun? Not much. So alright, so the gun comes wrapped up in a nice little plastic bag, and it's well oiled to prevent any rust or corrosion. So we're going to go ahead and chamber check it first. We have to flip it from fire to safety before we can pull the magazine out. Now, this is an interesting thing about this pistol. We can't flip it back down to fire here, as well as we can't rack the slide to check the chamber. So we actually have to start by checking it with the magazine in it. And as you can see, you've got a really nice view in there, so you can tell there's nothing in the magazine, there's nothing inside the chamber, so it is empty. But regardless, I think it's kind of cumbersome. You can't actually check it in that way. So it does have another safety. It actually has a hammer safety. So when you put this safety down, it blocks the hammer from hitting the firing pin. But again, you cannot eject the magazine unless you switch it to safety and inject the magazine. But you cannot check the chamber with the magazine empty. So you can kind of see in there, but in my opinion, it's not good enough. My opinion is I want to completely see inside of it to make sure that it's not loaded. So from this point, you can lock it open like this in the safe position, as well as pull out the magazine. So if you're trying to figure out how to chamber check this pistol, my personal recommendation is to point it in a safe direction, lock the slide up, and by switching it to safety, and that'll allow you to pull the magazine out. So we know that it's clear, but it's just kind of a cumbersome design. It's not the best by any means, in my opinion. And as you can see, they are definitely generous with the oil at the factory. Anyways, now let's go ahead and open up this other one and take a look at it. So this is the HP25A from Phoenix Arms. So this is chambered in 25 ACP. We're going to run through the same scenario with this one. The operational controls are the same. So again, we are not able to check the chamber if we eject the magazine. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're not able to eject the magazine and check the chamber. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to rack the slide and lock it in the open position. That allows us to see the magazine and allows us to eject it with it in the safe position. So these both have the same controls. One of them's a nickel finish, one of them's, obviously it's black, but regardless, they both have 10 round magazines. So we'll go ahead and open this one up at the same time. And as you can see, the magazines are almost identical. My God, they have a lot of oil. Go ahead and wipe those off. Yeah, like I said, the factory is definitely generous in terms of oiling these before they are packaged. Alright. So magazines are pretty tough to mix up. They are stamped. So it does have the information. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Let's see. There we go. So it's kind of hard to mix up the magazines on them if you do get both of them. Each magazine has its own information on it, so you could tell. They are manufactured in Ontario, California. Alright, so to the point of the video, if I could only have one and I had to rely on it, which one would I have and why? Or more importantly, which one would I buy and why? So the ammunition, here's these. This on this side, the left, is a 25. On the right side is a 22. So anybody that shot a lot of 22 is familiar with getting a dud every now and then. So it's a rimfire cartridge, and it's definitely not the most predictable when it's ammunition related. It's not reliable. 9 out of 10 times it'll go off, and sure, there's all those horror stories about 22 is the most deadly, most deadly gun or most deadly cartridge ever created. You hear grandpa or grandma or somebody you know stories about how a 22 will go in your leg and come out your head, and you know what, that might be the case as far as it being dangerous and ricocheting around. I doubt it. I think that it's more because it's such an inexpensive cartridge and inexpensive guns that fire the cartridge that causes it to be more popular, and that's why it's more frequently used, or you hear about somebody dying from a 22. I think it has nothing to do with it actually ricocheting around. But anyways, that's not the point. Point is, the 25 ACP, when John Moses Browning developed this cartridge, he wanted to get the same power of a 22 long rifle with a centerfire cartridge. And the reason is, you see the little primer there, so that primer gets struck and these ignite. Now in all the rounds of 25 ACP I've ever shot, I've never had a dud. But out of the bulk boxes of these 22s, I've had quite a few duds. And usually we don't run cheap 22 unless we're just out plinking with one of the beater type rifles. Usually we run CCI or better, and even then, and it's not CCI's fault, because when you get a dud with this, you can put it back in and strike it again, and most of the time it ends up going off. But cost wise, price wise of ammunition, so in terms of the 25 ACP versus 22 long rifle, it's about, let's see, it's about 6 times more expensive. So I could probably get about six of these boxes of the CCI for the same price as this PMC bronze. And maybe it is just here, just California, but my opinion, and everywhere I've ever traveled, 25 ACP is not only getting harder and harder to find, but it's also a lot more expensive. Regardless, I would trust 25 ACP over 22 any day of the week in a self-defense situation. So both of these 10 rounds, and yeah, that's my personal review. So again, it's very cumbersome that you're not able to put it on safety, take the magazine out and clear it. So like with my SIG, for instance, this is my SIG 365 SAS that I do quite a bit of videos with, and you'll be able to see that once we take the magazine out, we can still check to see that it's clear. So with the Phoenix, that's not the case. So you have to have it on safety in order to pull out the magazine. And while you're thinking, oh well, that's okay, it's on safety, but in my opinion, in order to clear a firearm, and the only way you should ever clear a firearm is to verify that both the chamber and the magazine are empty. And I get it. You can see clear to the magazine. Obviously there's not a cartridge in there. But still, I just wish that you could remove the magazine without having to rack the slide and hold it open. And like I said, you could put it on safety, take this out, but then can't really chamber check it. So it's kind of just cumbersome. So lock it open, safe, cleared. And the same thing with this. So they're basically the same exact pistol with the exception of the caliber that they're chambered in. If I could only choose one, I'd take the 25 ACP any day of the week, because the centerfire cartridge is a lot more reliable than a rimfire. And that's just my opinion and my experience. So if you have a different one, comment down below. Let us know. Tell us, do you think that 22 is more reliable, more trustworthy than a 25? Do you think a 22 is better for a self-defense situation than a 25? Okay, so let's see how many it went through. So it went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So, and it looks like that is where it stopped. Okay, that is where it stopped. And look, we actually found the bullet. So, here is the 22. Now, how many did it stop on?
22.
22 on a 22. What are the odds of that? So that's funny. Okay, so now we've got something to compare it to, right? So, let's see. Let me take these off. Do we think that the 25 is gonna go through 25, Frankie? Or 22 again? Or less?
Well, it was close. Of 20, it was close, but
You were
just
very
more
close.
higher.
You were almost right. You were very close. Okay, so this is probably the least common thing anybody's ever done with these, is shoot them with a pistol. But 25.
25.
25? Auntie?
I'm saying above 25.
Above 25. Okay, remember, John Moses Browning developed this cartridge to have the same power as a 22 long rifle in a smaller cartridge, so they could make smaller pistols. It's not a smaller pistol, it's the same size. But, so the barrels are the same length. The pistol is the same. And I thought that would make the fairest comparison as far as how many it goes through. Okay, so 20, 25,
because I think.
and you think more than 25?
Yeah.
You gotta give a number, you can't cheat.
That's not cheating.
How many?
30, 35.
Okay, will we find the bullet on this one?
I think since I put 25, it's because that's called the 25.
Okay, let's find out. Ready? Okay. Let's find out what it did. Okay. So, let's see, Frankie, step over there so I can show them. Okay, so we have one, which that one, it just barely poked a hole in. Look at that entrance. That is such a clean entrance compared to the 22. Okay, so we have 2, 3, 4. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, okay, 11, 12, 13, there's 13, 14 and 15, okay, here is 16, 17, 18, 19, okay, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I found the bullet. I can't believe we found both bullets. Look at this. So this bullet is basically undamaged. 26. So it went through 26.
I was actually
28?
28.
Okay, it went through 28. I'll have to actually go back through the footage and see. Because if it went through 25 with the 25 and 22 with the 22, that would make my day. Okay, so let's save this bullet and this bullet for this.